Hello! In this lesson, we will talk about the ways of expressing rules, obligation, and prohibition. We have already learned that rules can be expressed using the imperative. The imperative in English is formed by infinitive of the verb or don't plus infinitive. Examples are: sit down now, wait here, you can't go in, don't walk on the grass, don't smoke in the bedroom, and my parents don't let me stay late. We can also use modal verbs to express obligation and prohibition. In order to express obligation, we use must and have to. There is a difference between these two verbs. We use must when it is important to do an action or we give people orders. For instance, you must be home by 11, or she must tidy her room every day. We use must when the obligation comes from the speaker. For example, I don't feel well, I must go to the doctor's. Or, I must stop smoking. We use have to or has to when the obligation comes from someone else, not the speaker. Have to and has to are used for an action that is necessary because of rules. The examples are: I have to wear a uniform at work. I have to pay a membership fee. Here is an example of the difference between have to and must. My doctor said that I have to stop smoking or I'll risk serious problems. And I must stop smoking. It costs me too much money. In the first sentence, we can see that I have no choice because my doctor told me to stop smoking. In the second sentence, it's my decision to stop smoking because I spend a lot of money on cigarettes. If we want to express the absence of obligation, we use don't or doesn't have to. We use these forms where something is not required. For example, I don't have to clean my room because my mother has already done it for me. He doesn't have to take his dog for a walk every day. In order to express prohibition, we use mustn't. It is used when something is prohibited, not allowed. We use mustn't to say that something is against the rules or against the law. Here are two examples. You mustn't smoke at hospital, and you mustn't use your mobile phone at school. It is not allowed. The past tense of must and have to is had to, and it expresses obligation in the past. For example, we had to train hard for the match on Saturday, or she had to visit the hospital when she cut her hand. The negative form didn't have to expresses absence of obligation in the past. The example is, we didn't have to cook dinner last Friday because Mom ordered pizza. Look at the following sentences. You can't sit here. The seat is not free. You can't go into that restaurant without a tie. You can't drive in this country unless you are over 18. You can see that modal can't is used in these sentences. Can't is also used to express prohibition. It usually gives the idea of something that is against the rules. Let's do some exercises now. In this exercise, the modal verb is missing. Two options are given, and we have to choose the correct one to fill in the sentences. I study tonight, my exam is tomorrow. And we have to choose between must and have to. The correct option is must. So the sentence will be, I must study tonight, my exam is tomorrow. The second sentence is, you come to the meeting, but it will be nice if you are there. We have to choose between mustn't and don't have to. The correct form is don't have to. You don't have to come to the meeting, but it will be nice if you are there. The next sentence is, I can hear you. You shout. The options are mustn't and don't have to. The correct option is don't have to. I can hear you. You don't have to shout. In the sentence, did they tell you that you come into this area? It's restricted to staff only. The options are can't and don't have to. The correct form is can't. So the sentence will be, did they tell you that you can't come into this area? It's restricted to staff only. The next example is, she has a big problem. We help her, and the modals are must and have to. The correct modal is must. She has a big problem. We must help her. The next example is, you sign a document without reading it first. There are two options, mustn't and don't have to, but only one is correct. Yes, mustn't is the correct answer. You mustn't sign a document without reading it first. People drink and drive cars. It is prohibited. We have two modals, mustn't and don't have to. Which one is correct? What do you think? The correct form is mustn't. People mustn't drink and drive cars. It is prohibited. The next example is, my brother wear a tie in his office, but I do. And we have to choose between the following two forms, mustn't and doesn't have to. Doesn't have to is the correct modal. My brother doesn't have to wear a tie in his office, but I do. For the sentence, Mike can't come because he work tomorrow, we have to choose between must and has to. Yes, the correct form is has to. So the sentence will be, Mike can't come because he has to work tomorrow. The next sentence is, we speak when the teacher is speaking, and the options are mustn't and don't have to. The modal we should write in this sentence is mustn't. We mustn't speak when the teacher is speaking. In the second exercise, we will do the transformation of the sentences. We have to complete the second sentence so that it has a similar meaning to the first one using the words in brackets. The first sentence that we have to transform is, it isn't necessary for us to wear a uniform. And the verb in brackets is have to. The new sentence is, we don't have to wear a uniform. The second sentence to transform is, don't miss any more classes. The verb given in brackets is must. The transformed sentence is, you mustn't miss any more classes. The next sentence that has to be transformed is, you aren't allowed to enter this area. The verb that should be used in the new sentence is must. You mustn't enter this area is transformed sentence. The fourth example is, it is your obligation to hand in your assignments by the deadline. The verb in brackets is must. The transformed sentence will be, you must hand in your assignments by the deadline. The last example is, I am obliged to pay a membership fee, and the verb in brackets is have to. The new sentence is, I have to pay a membership fee. Now, at the end of this lesson, there is a mind map. In this mind map, we can see that different verbs are used to express permission, prohibition, obligation, and lack of obligation. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.